Welcome back, Fino here. The GSSR is just around the corner, and for the price of 15 paid quartz, you're guaranteed at least one limited 5-star and one 4-star that could be either limited or not. Generally speaking, it's not worth planning around the 4-star servants, so I'll be mentioning them for the most part. I'd recommend treating them as bonuses. If you want to go full waifu mode for like Lancer Kiyohime or something, good luck, but don't say I didn't warn you. The banners for this GSSR are divided by time periods, so they actually make decent snapshots for the power level of the game at a given point. But some servants age better than others, so let's dive in. Banner 1 has the oldest servants, and as far as 5-stars are concerned, it's aged reasonably well. You have solid quick beatsticks like Okita, Skahak, MHX, and Dantes, buster powerhouses like Gilgamesh, Kintoki, Jalter, and Raiko, and utility picks like Nero Bride, the old loop enabler, and Amakusa with his preemptive buff purge. The whammies for this particular banner are Saber Shiki, Iskandar, Brynhildr, and as much as it pains me to admit it, Shuten Doji. Those suffer from antiquated skill sets, poor compatibility with meta supports, or both. Overall, Banner 1 has a nostalgic and respectable selection of servants, but none of them are really game-breaking at this point. If you want bang for your buck, we can do better. Banner 2's power level is all over the place. On one hand, you have colossal power picks like Squirturia, Ishtar, and Merlin. The first two are always strong, and they only get stronger once Castoria and Vich come out respectively. As for Merlin, he's been a key enabler for buster crit strategies, and his defensive utility is nothing to sneeze at either. But then we have the other end of the spectrum. Jank like Cleopatra, Caster Da Vinci, Hijikata, whatever picks like Ilya, Tammy Lancer, Moriarty, Altrio. The rest is pretty solid. The overall risk of this banner has jumped dramatically, but so has the reward. If you win the lottery and get a Squirt or an Ishtar, you're set. But if you don't, things can get pretty ugly. I'm sorry to say that Banner 3 is in large part a worse Banner 2. Late Epic of Remnant, early Lost Belt was not a great time for servant power levels. Obviously Scotty's on here and her entry into the scene sparked the next arms race, but aside from her, it's bleak. Holmes has great utility in the form of an invuln Fierce defense bypass combo, though he can be difficult to deploy effectively without a super scope, at least until his buff 2 years down the road, which gives him a 50% battery. Hokusai is a solid fighting foreigner, and both Aresh and Caster Nero have 50% batteries, making them Vich compatible. However, those last two aren't exactly known for their damage, especially at NP1. And Nero in particular has competition from Caster Ku of all things. He becomes absolutely cracked with his Lost Belt 6 buffs. But the low end of this banner is rough. Maid Alter is probably the worst offender on here, but I consider Sigurd, Semiramis, and Abigail pretty mediocre at this point. Ivan's okay with an AoE purge on demand, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get him. My opinion on Banner 3 is that if you don't get Scotty or Holmes, you're not getting your money's worth. If you're hellbent on running a quick setup, you won't have a choice, but I'd think twice. We're about to enter an arts meta after all. Next up is Banner 4, and holy shit, just look at it. Pound for pound, it's by far the most valuable of the bunch. The only bad servant on here is Nobunaga, and I know the Nobu friends won't be happy to hear that, but it's the truth. I'd put her several tiers below the other options. Beni-enma, bonkers single target art saber with a purge prevention effect, and extra damage against a very common set of alignments. Jarcher, farming arts archer, strong before Castoria, even crazier after. Rhaenys. With her buffs, she's a 50% charger with a defensive bent. Not game-breaking in isolation, but she's a logistical enabler for both fresh accounts and the Chen Gong system. Murasaki's probably the second weakest servant on this banner, but she's still solid with a mix of rare utility and anti-demonic damage. Kama. One of the strongest single-target assassins in the game, who can also give herself class advantage against alter egos. She's got a 50% battery and charm lock potential. She's so strong that I occasionally used her with Castoria instead of a second Scotty, just because I could. She's nuts. Arjuna Alter. He's tragically rare in terms of rate ups, and Morgan's gonna show up to steal his crown, but taken on his own merits, he's a ridiculously powerful beatstick. As long as your debuffs land, he can rip apart pretty much anything you throw him against. If you roll him as a new player, you're pretty much set up until Salem, which you don't even have to do. Shi Huangdi. This ruler is a self-buffing damage engine, and as long as you can feed him crit stars, he does serious work. With a spammable taunt invuln combo, he can stifle most single target enemies while your supports keep the engine going. Strong stuff if you're willing to commit. Summer Bibi. On top of her ability to lock your hand for 3 turns, she's also a Vich-compatible buster farmer. Combined with her rare Moon Cancer class, this makes her quite valuable. Finally, there's King Protea, a bit of an oddball alter ego that focuses on stacking health, but with her buff that gives those stacks NP damage resistance, she becomes an effective if niche attacker. Some of you may remember Banner 4 as the subject of that infamous video, where I say I'd be okay with anyone except Nobu or Bibi. I got 2 SSRs and you have one guess as to what those were. Despite that, I'd say that for the overwhelming majority of you, Banner 4 is going to give you the most value. It helps that even though a lot of these servants want meta supports, they provide respectable value even without them. Lastly, we have Banner 5. It contains 3 high-grade arts farmers in the form of Musashi, Space Ishtar, and Rider Da Vinci. Superhuman Orion is a Buster Crit meme lord, and Yang Guifei is a single-target foreigner. On top of this, Lancer Melt is one of the 4 stars you can roll, and she's an outstanding farming arts lancer. However, the low end of this banner has gimmicky or underpowered servants like Ruler Artoria, Voyager, and Seishonagon. None of the servants here are trash tier, but you're gambling very heavily on getting Musashi or Spishtar. If you want extra NP copies and you're committed to the Castoria life, that could be worth. But there's a lot more risk here than in Banner 4. Also, if you're someone with a relatively new account, I'd stay away. A lot of these servants are difficult to use without high-end supports. Which banner you go for is going to depend on a few factors. Obviously, some of you are the waifu first type, in which case, I don't know why you're watching this. Validation? Want me to tell you Beni-Enma is good? I can't. I'd be lying to you. Sorry, Saber friends, your waifu can't be good in all of her incarnations. But at least you're not an Abigail fan, am I right? 0 for 2 on gameplay. Fuck me. That aside, here's the breakdown. Banner 1 is low risk, low reward. A lot of the servants in it are antiquated and no longer have game-breaking power. Banner 2 has Squirt, Ishtar, and Merlin, but if you don't get any of those, you're probably getting roughed up the rectum. Banner 3 is even riskier, but if you absolutely need Scotty, you don't have a choice. Banner 4 is the best value for new players and anyone that doesn't need an extremely specific servant, and Banner 5 is a risky but potentially worthwhile choice for people who want high-end arts attackers. My personal recommendation is of course Banner 4, so good luck and enjoy your Nobunaga. Thanks for watching. Like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more, and come watch me on Twitch where I stream every weekend, 3 PM Pacific time, Friday through Sunday. See you there.